Mark, you've clearly had time to reflect on the performance against York. Do you see that performance as a step in the right direction, your second game in charge?
Yeah, I do, Mick. I thought for large chunks of it was good. I thought the resilience, particularly in our own goal line, was very, very good and a big improvement on the week before. But we know we're under no illusions. There's still areas we need to be better at as well. So, we're pleased with some of the progression and encouraged and excited by the development still left in us.
What was the difference ultimately then between the two teams on Sunday?
I think to sum it up in one word, it was conviction, Mick. They capitalised on our errors. We made some errors that were sloppy. I think they were based on people trying too hard. People, trying to do things to get a reaction, and I think there was just a little bit sloppy is the way I would describe it. So the endeavour and the effort is undeniable. We just need to be a little bit smarter and a little bit better with our conviction.
You just mentioned endeavour and effort. Clearly anybody who's watched the game, who saw the game, clearly saw that, certainly in terms of the defensive side of things. I think York were held up at least 5, 6, maybe 7 times over the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact number, but yeah, they did. And in previous weeks, teams have come through us in that middle unit. So I was very pleased with the progression there. And don't forget, York held us up over the line a few times as well. And when you play quality teams, and I thought that game was a good tough game. A good honest game by two teams. Probably both trying a little bit too hard at times, but it was a game of inches as well. So. There's areas in the game where we feel we've been slightly wronged, but we're not going to be, professional victims or anything. We think the first drive from Jordan Lilly, he kicks the ball and actually catches the ball, which puts everybody on side. So an offside one's a little bit confusing. The first drive by York, we think's a forward pass, and then we're talking a game of inches where, Joe Burton goes down the touchline and gets caught by a fantastic cover tackle by Matty Marsh. It goes down the touchline again, and it's the width of a touchline away from scoring in the corner. So all them little things, but the facts are that York capitalised on their opportunities and our errors, and we unfortunately couldn't do that to them.
Just on the Brendan O'Hagan try, Mark, is it a bit unfair for certain people to be focusing on certain players for defensive lapses when that try comes in the final 10-15 minutes of a game where it's been attritional and pound for pound, toe to toe?
I wouldn't say it's unfair. We're all men. We're all grown men, and the people involved in that tackle when we reviewed it on Tuesday were the first to put their hands up and say, yeah, I got that wrong and it wasn't good enough. What nobody needs in this building, Mick, is telling when they've done something wrong, because they passionately care about the club. Whoever we are and whatever role we're in, we passionately care about the club. So we'll be the first to put our hands up. I'll be the first to put my arm around some people and say, listen, you need to do this better. But I'll never throw any of these players or staff to the wolves. It's not the way we do things.
When we spoke previously, Matt, we spoke about the defence and how pleased you were with that against Whitehaven. 4 penalties conceded. If I've got my maths correct, I think it was 7 conceded and a number of set restarts. Against York, were you happy with that, or is that an area where you're probably going to focus a bit of attention on this week against Newcastle?
I've just explained. I thought one of them wasn't. I thought I had it down as 6 penalties, Mick, okay. And I thought one of them wasn't a penalty, yeah. the John Lilly one. I think there were a number of penalties within the game from both teams. I think it was that type of game. Yeah. While both teams were going hammer and tong and trying and really having a dig at each other, it was a little bit scrappy as well for a spectator's point of view. So I'm going to run it as 5 penalties, and I'm content with that. I would like it to be under 5, but I'm content with 5.
When we've spoken about obviously the team and how they played under John Kieran, how you're going to change things certainly in terms of the structure, Mark, are we going to see more progression this week? On Saturday against Newcastle, obviously, as the time goes by, you're having your stamp of authority on proceedings.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the plan. What we're trying to do, Mick, is we're trying to to subtly change things rather than, you know, whack something with a stick and expect it all to fall straight back into place. So, you know, the changes that need to be made, people would look at as minor changes, and they are minor changes, but when you're in the midst of a season, you know, and you're going week to week, back to back, 5-6 day turnarounds, you know, we've got 2 games in a week after the Challenge Cup, so it's a little bit difficult to do. It was a blessing in disguise that we had the week off last week before the York game, and again, I think if anybody's honest and, you know, has an honest look at the game, then I think they'll see improvement. I think they saw improvement for 55 minutes at Whitehaven. I was delighted there was no drop off this week, and they saw, you know, an 80-minute effort. And I'll highlight that by the last set that York had in the game. We defended our goal line vigorously and went up there, you know, up the field, and the next set scored the try. So that's an 80-minute performance. That's people still absolutely busting the balls after 80 minutes to do the best for the team and the club. So that was an improvement. Do we want to see more changes and more progression? Absolutely right, we do, and we're working hard to do that.
Is there a harmonious environment, Mark, currently amongst yourself and the team? Obviously, it is a tough, you know, run at the minute. You know, the club are, I think it's 2 games now outside the playoffs. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, and where we said the evening that John came in and said goodbye to everybody, we shut the door here in the meeting room, and the exact words that we said were, "It's us against the world. There's only us left." You know, so the group of staff and the players that are left. You know, it's now for us to really batten down the hatches, try and block out the external noise, and I've said all along I'll take that external pressure. I'm more than happy for people to put all the blame on me, and just let the players have the confidence and gain the confidence again into playing the way we want to play. So I want us to play without fear and without fear of redemption from anybody. If there's redemption to come, I'll take that.
Club are playing at home again on Saturday evening against Newcastle, Mark. They've lost the last 5 at home. Is that an issue for you and the players?
No, not at all. Absolutely not at all. You know, Odsall's our home, Mick. Is it different to other pitches and other stadia? Absolutely right, it is. Yeah, it's you know, that's you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you when you look at Odsall and the dimensions that it's different. But it's never going to be a problem to us. You know, Odsall's our home. And we're very keen to make it a tough place to come for opposition teams as well. So again, you know, we're doing all we can. We're practicing there as often as we can. You know, but we've got to be respectful of, there's a ground to maintain, there's a pitch to maintain, and there's, you know, there's other usage of the field as well. So whenever we can get on the field, we are doing. But no, playing at Odsall is never going to be an issue or a problem to anybody.
To beat Newcastle on Saturday, would that alleviate some of what might be by the fans seen as perceived pressure?
I can't comment on what people perceive as, you know, a wise man once told me you can never stop a man or a woman thinking what they want to think, so I'm not even going to attempt to do that. What I'm going to do is attempt to have a Bradford Bulls team that's fully committed, and I think we've seen that. A Bradford Bulls team that care, I think we've seen that, and a Bradford Bulls team that's trying the very best to get 2 points against Newcastle and get this season back on its track. It's,
of course, Newcastle on Saturday, Mark, same points as Bradford, you know, trying to make ground on those playoff spots. What's your take on them so far this year?
They're a good team. In fact, they're a good club, Mick. They're a really good club. You know, they're doing wonderful things with the youth up there. They're trying their very best to grow the club in a sustainable manner. You know, and they've took the punt this year and, you know, spent a few bob, haven't they? And they've gone full time. So, you know, we're under no illusions. They're a good team, you know, and they've got some good players within that team. I mean, I think Brad Day is one of the best back rows in the competition, if I'm honest, and, you know, is a very good player. And, you know, they've got 2 quality halves in Woods and Chorrocks, and they're a threat to any team. So they're littered with quality, you know, Mitch Clark, Akuma Ties, you go on and on. So we've had a good look. We're well aware of what they've got. Hopefully, you know, we've got enough to combat that, but we'll see at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
What's the team news for Saturday?
Well, the 21-man squad's gone out this morning, so you'll have noticed there's no Chester Butler and Elliot Keir. Chester Butler's got a sternum injury, and again, you know, part of my role at this moment in time is I've got to look at the holistic view, and with 2 games coming up after the Challenge Cup final, you know, within 4 days, the last thing I want to do is make his sternum injury any worse. So Chester will sit out this week. Elliot Keir's got a rib injury. You know, full credit to him, he's tried his absolute damnedest to get on the field. But he's not right, and I don't feel that it's right to play a player that's not 100% fit. So Elliot Keir will miss out as well.
What is there in terms of the Leeds dual reg, Mark? Obviously, how's that agreement? Obviously, we mentioned previously, Rowan's now embedded himself at Leeds. What can you tell us about that moving forward?
Yeah, we've got 3 lads in the squad from Leeds. You know, so we've got Sam Walters, we've got Tom Holroyd, and we've got Moise Mustafa. You know, we thank Leeds for that, and you know, the relationships. You know, it's always been good. There's quality people throughout the club at Leeds, and it's only progressing with the relationship that we've got with Rowan as well.
Billy Jowett suffered an injury in the reserves game against Huddersfield. What's the latest on Billy?
Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted for the kid, if I'm honest. You know, it's just most pros have 1 year out of the career where they just can't seem to get right, and you know, Billy's absolutely worked his rocks off to get back fit, and then going particularly well, and 37 minutes into his return to play, he's dislocated his shoulder. So we've got a timeline in mind, and you know, we're not going to put any pressure or any dates on that. It's again, it's about putting his arms around Billy and helping Billy to, you know, mentally get over another injury, and then supporting him fully in his rehab, so that when he does come back, he's got a fighting chance to have a real good go the rest of the season.
Sammy Kabul obviously joining Dewsbury on a 2-week loan.
Yeah, and I've watched the game from last week, and you know, Sammy did himself a lot of favours. So you know, that was always just based on getting Sammy Kabul some game time. You know, we couldn't guarantee him 80 minutes, and Lee Greenwood at Dewsbury said, as wherever possible, I'll play him for 80 minutes for the next couple of weeks. So had a real good chat with Sammy and his agent, and they both understood the reasons behind it, and he's dealt with it in a really professional manner as Sammy, and he's gone there and conducted himself well and come up with a try against Featherstone last week, and I know he's jumping at the bit to have a real good dig against Barrow this week.
And is that the message to any player who goes on loan, be it to the Midland Hurricanes, Cornwall or Dewsbury? You know, you're not being sent out there as a punishment, a banishment. You know, you're out there to get the game time and prove to me, you know, I won't have a good look at you, get back in first team contingent.
Exactly, that's the whole reason we send people out on loan. You know, it's not to help anybody other than us and the players, really. You know, and if we indirectly help a club by sending them a player that's playing really well, that's great. But what we've got, Mick, is we've got a reserve squad, we've got a first team squad that train together in essence. So, you know, 35 blokes, 40 blokes, they can't all play in the first team. So if there's not a reserve game, or if I think that them playing against men in the championships is better than them playing reserves, which in Sammy Kabula's case I did, you know, he's going to get more competition playing against Featherstone and Barrow, all due respect, than he is playing against reserve teams. So that's the reason that Sammy went out there. You know, hopefully, touch wood, he comes through against Barrow with a good performance and injury free, and if he does that, I think he'll be vindicated. With some of the other lads, you know, they might be asked to play reserves this weekend, you know, but I haven't had that chat with individuals yet, so I'll do that privately before I speak to you guys about it. But the whole aim of the next weekend and leading up to, you know, that ridiculous, I would say, 2 games in 4 days for part-time players in the beginning of June. It's all about having a squad that's fit enough and healthy enough to be able to play 2 games in 4 days.
What's the latest on the coaching situation? Have you had any recent updates from Nigel Wood at all?
I was hoping you could tell me, Mick. No. You know,
he's been very quiet to me as well.
It's one of them, Mick. It's, you know, Nigel's got a lot on as, you know, as chairman of the club, as has Jason Hurst as the new chief executive. So no, it's as we were, and until, you know, somebody tells me otherwise, then as I've always said, I'll continue to do my very best that I can for the club and for the boys.
I know deep down, Mark, that this is something that you really want to grasp with both fans. You know, what again, you know, what if you get a good run of games, you know, this is something that you'd really want.
I just want to take it, you know, week by week. Make it. I've always said it's not about me; it's about the club. Am I a Bradfordian that loves Bradford? Yes, I am. But you know, it's got to be right for the club first, and then it's got to be right for me. I've got to sit down with my family, and you know, I've got to have a real good chat with them and speak to the club and just see where we all go. But right now, I'm absolutely loving it. I've got a great relationship with the staff, great relationship with the players, you know, and the respect and the buy-in that I've had from all has been quite humbling.
And just finally, Mark, the club are going to play in a pride shirt on Saturday evening, showing the club's solidarity with the LGBT community. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, I think it's, you know, there can't be any discrimination in life, never mind sport, make it. You know, personal opinions, but I've never understood people being called, you know, labelled as gay. They're just people. You know, we're all people. We've all got differences. We've all got, you know, height, size, width. I'm not bothered. You know, I have friends who are gay, but they're not my gay friends. They're just my friends. So, you know, if it helps the community and it helps show solidarity, I'm all behind it, and it'll do a lot of good.